But also we have got some funding from the UK Finance, about £90 million under the implemented by Nexus Green, especially for small-scale irrigation and water for drinking in fast-growing urban centers. And we are going to implement this in all the constituencies of Uganda. So that one we have not left anybody out. So we are also trying our best to see that we mobilize resources. But these resources with the donors must be negotiated. That's why you see participating in some of these meetings is very important, so that you can reach the donors and tell them your challenges, and then they can come with some benefits like this. So we are going to look at this project. But for us as a committee, we are going to be very strict and see that that money has gone to address climate change. There are many people.
I also wanted to ask something here about the corruption, tackling corruption from the view of the donated funds that are meant to address climate change. How far have you gone, and how can we as Ugandans feel safer that when the funds come into the country?
Uganda is one country. Uganda is one country. I've worked in many countries before coming to Parliament. Uganda is one country that is receiving a lot of grants, a lot of donations in this region from development partners, from some bilateral funds. But corruption, we need to address corruption. Corruption is also very high. We are receiving a lot of donations, but also we have a lot of corruption. So we need to address that so that this money can have some impact. And we don't want this money to go for too much trainings. The money should go for tangible things. If I want to double production in agriculture, I put the money for irrigation. If the people have at least 20 to 50 acres of land, which is a community land, and they can do some commercial agriculture there, that's what the money should go for, than training them about irrigation. Train them on the job. So for us, we have already started the process. We are profiling all the projects, all the funds that have come to Uganda for addressing climate change. And as a committee, we shall go to check what exactly that money has done. And we shall write a report back to Parliament. And any organization, whether government, civil society, academia, or private sector, that has received that money but cannot show us the impact, it will appear in our report. You can imagine if we read about you that despite the money you have got, we have seen nothing you have done on the ground, and we mention you as an organization in our report, it is going to be a challenge. And we are not going to leave anybody out, because Uganda in the NDC promised to reduce greenhouse gases by 22%, the emissions by 22%. So this 22% is not only going to be based on the work of government, it's also going to look at the work of civil society, government, academia, and private sector. So even civil society organizations that are saying they are implementing climate change projects, we want to go to them and they show us what they have done, because we want to capture their contribution, because it will add to this 22% contribution Uganda has made, promise that we are going to cut down greenhouse gases. So we are going to deal with everyone, because in the reporting, we must report the contribution of Uganda, done either by its government, civil society, academia, or private sector.
Throwing it back to 2006, the country has been following up on the development of oil and gas. Since time immemorial, we've been having prospects that Uganda can extract oil and gas. Fast forward 2022 February, the final investment decision was signed, and then the hopes are 2025 Uganda receives its first oil drop. The question is, some activists are saying oil and gas extraction is a matter that affects climate change. How true is that statement? Is it true or it's false? And if at all it's false, how viable?
Thank you very much. As far as the issue of oil and gas is concerned, when we talked about the Agenda 2030 or the Sustainable Development Goals, especially the climate action, which is goal number 13, yes, it is agreed that we need to slow down, we need to cut down use of coal and fossil fuels, because these are the things that are causing climate change. So if we can cut down on the use of coal, the use of fossil fuel, we shall cut down on climate change. It is true that petroleum sector can generate a lot of greenhouse gases, but again, in the Paris Agreement, there was a clause in the UNFCCC, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. In that convention, it was mentioned clearly that there will be a common but differentiated responsibility. That means, yes, our common agenda is to address climate change, but responsibility, as far as we are going to do it, must depend on the local context of the country. Uganda must have its local context of addressing climate change, but the ultimate goal for the whole world is we have addressed climate change. Now, and based on that principle of common but differentiated responsibility, each country has to see what is a priority and what approach, what development pathways. Of course, all the pathways should be low carbon, but you find some countries are still generating a lot of carbon or greenhouse gases. Now, as far as petroleum is concerned, fossil is a fossil fuel which we don't want to use. We want to go more of renewable energy like solar and so on. But now, for Uganda, we have chosen, in our local context, we have chosen, and I want this to put it clearly. I've talked about this in Glasgow, in many of the sessions in Glasgow, and this is still the position. Uganda has got about estimated 6.5 billion barrels of oil. That oil should not excite anybody. It is very small. I have worked as a technical advisor in Southeast Asia, especially the Mekong region, where the South China Sea has about 17.7 billion barrels of petroleum and natural gas. And if you look at Kuwait, Kuwait is having about 14.4 billion barrels of petroleum. Now, Uganda is only estimated to be having 6.5 billion barrels. I wish all the 6.5 billion barrels can come out. Unfortunately, because of gas and other issues, impurities, technology, we can only extract what we can recover from that is only 1.4 billion barrels of oil, petroleum. Now, 1.4 billion barrels at the current price of petroleum or crude oil or whatever this is concerned, from 1.4 billion barrels, we can only generate $89.6 billion or roughly $90 billion. That's why we are saying, okay, for petroleum industry, let us not overspend. Because if we are going to raise 90, let us not borrow 50% of that money to do the petroleum. Let us try to save. Then, so that that money for oil can have some profit for us. Definitely, as a country, we have chosen this path of carbon neutrality. Okay. And we want to move towards what we call the net zero. So, as we produce the oil, it is going to generate greenhouse gases that will cause climate change. However, as a country, as Uganda, we also need money for petroleum to do our roads, to do our health center, to build more schools, to invest in economic activities that can address the challenges of the economy here, energy access and so on. Now, we have chosen that carbon neutrality, that much as this petroleum will generate for us greenhouse gases that is causing climate change, we want to create a sink that if we generate 1,000 tons of greenhouse gases or carbon dioxide from petroleum activities, let us have forests, let us plant trees, let us have wetlands that can absorb 1,000 tons of carbon dioxide. That is all we need. So that amount of generated, greenhouse gases generated should be equal to the amount of greenhouse gases absorbed. That is the position we have chosen because you have to do a lot of cost-benefit analysis. If you don't generate money locally, then you have to go for loans. These are high-interest loans from whatever banks in China or in Europe. It is high-interest loan, which is still a burden to the population. And we are not supposed to borrow 50% of our GDP. So we must generate our own money. And our own money can come from the oil, and I've told you it's only 90 unless we discover more oil reserves. And then we can also generate money from minerals. Uganda has a lot of minerals. Actually, from minerals alone, it is estimated that we can generate about $12 trillion from minerals in Uganda. But that should come out. Instead of borrowing, we can use money for minerals and for petroleum. So this is the position we have chosen, carbon neutrality, and we want to move towards the net zero. I saw a demonstration in Germany against a bank that promised to be carbon neutral, and that bank wants to give money to Total Energies to do a pipeline from our oil to Tanga through Tanzania. Yes, they are demonstrating because they know fossil fuel can cause climate change. But we are also telling the international community that as Uganda, we know it generates carbon, it generates greenhouse gases, but we are going to plant more trees and protect more wetlands and forests so that it can absorb these greenhouse gases. And that means, my appeal now to the government, we have activated the tree fund. The only way for the petroleum to come out without causing destruction to the environment, government should put priority in protecting forests, in planting more trees, and also saving more wetland. That's the only way, and then we shall have what we call production equals to absorption of the greenhouse gases.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable,
for
your time this morning.
Thank you.
It is Honorable Songa Lawrence.
Yes.
Thank you very much for, if you can as well remind the viewers, the constituency.
Yeah, thank you very much. Once again, my name is B. Lawrence Songa, Member of Parliament for Ora County in Zombo District in West Nile. And in Parliament, I chair the Committee on Climate Change. Thank you very much.
Zombo is also receiving part of the...
Yeah, Zombo is one of the districts selected.
Okay.
By the project, because I told you about the vulnerability,
yes.
But also they have missed other funds like the investing in forests, which has gone to other districts. So Zombo and Nebi, Kasese, and Nwea will benefit from this project. Okay. But there are many other projects like the one for Nexus Green, which is going to all the constituencies under the Parliament.
The 24 million that you mentioned about that.
No, the one which is going to all the constituencies for small-scale irrigation and also for water for urban growth center, high growth centers, or the trading centers that are having high population and they're growing very fast, for water for drinking. It is $90 million from UK Finance, implemented by Ministry of Water and Environment under Nexus Green. All
right. Honorable, in 2 minutes, as you're giving your final remarks, I want you to also mention something about the parish development model. I don't know whether people in Zombo have at least got in contact, or have they been sensitized enough about the PDM?
Actually, if we can develop a parish, if a parish can have all their priorities and they can work together as a united unit, I think we can develop. But now the mindset is the mindset of the people towards understanding this kind of parish model. Before Gaddafi was overthrown, he used to have a principle where in Libya where there are committees everywhere. The committee for water, committee for agriculture, committee for this in every village. And those villagers would sit and say, for us, our priority in this budget is going to be water, is going to be a school, is going to be health center. Out of this, since the money is not enough, we shall first go for water. They resolved at the committee at the village level. So now, parish in Uganda is very small. If we can give them 100, we are starting with 100 million per year. We are starting with 100 million per month, so that the parish can be able to implement what we call the parish development model, so that they can see their priorities. If we give 100 million shillings per year to a parish, they should be able to address water, they should be able to address their priorities. And not all priorities will be the same in all the parishes. Some parishes may have water as first priority, another parish is prioritizing education. So it is up to the parish development committee to see that that money goes for priority sectors that can develop that parish. So we need to train these people. We need to do a lot of mindset change so that they understand that this parish development model is their thing. They should not again look at it as a government thing. It is their own. They only needed capital to address their challenges in the community. So some education is needed. Even in Zombo, we still need to do a lot of sensitization so that people understand this parish development model. I've seen it in many other countries that are implementing a similar thing. They may not necessarily be called parish development model, but they have really units that have developed because of that kind of approach. Okay. But in Uganda, we need to control that corruption. If we can control corruption, if we can change the mindset, if we can put that money to good use, I think we shall be able to address the challenges of the economy.
All right, yeah. And I believe you've had a good conversation or discussion on Friday. It is, as we're kicking off the weekend, I'll definitely want to say thank you very much for being part of Smart Means Business this week, from Monday to Friday today. As officially today, we are launching on GoTV, channel 394, the entire team in Smart 24, plot 42 Nile Avenue. And for all of you that are definitely part of Smart Means Business, thank you very much for keeping it here every other single day that passes by. On our social media platforms, Twitter is Smart24TV, Smart24TV, Facebook is Smart24TV Official, Instagram is Smart24TV, Smart24_TV. Then our YouTube is Smart24TV. Please remember to subscribe. Then our website is www.smart24.tv for more business reports and stories that you might have missed in our daily programming. And to catch up more from the interviews, you visit our YouTube channel, from the key discussion that we've had here today. And surely next time we shall be having Honorable Songa Lawrence taking us through a different topic, but clearly more from the business part of it. And you will definitely enjoy the discussion. Coming up after is the financial markets with Anthony Sebale. And later on we shall have a Matufu Kumusamvu, the Luganda News Bulletin. Our discussion has been maximizing it will be the news that we'll be having. Then our topic here has been maximizing donor funds in addressing climate change in Uganda. And I hope you've had a big discussion. I'm out of this place today. Till Monday, 7 a.m. Good morning. Have a good weekend. It's a goodbye.